Live from Purdue University, this is Fast Track Sports.
Good evening and welcome to a new edition of Fast Track Live. Tonight for the sports special, we're live here at the Purdue Sports Complex. I'm Sydney Simone Tucker.
I'm Mike Folta.
And I'm Liam Archer.
And tonight, Purdue taking on Illinois in men's basketball conference action. Purdue definitely the favorite guys, but Illinois a tough opponent with a couple of nice wins on their resume.
Yes, they have been proven to be a pest to other Big Ten teams, but also teams around the country. Earlier in the season, they faced the number one ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs and came away with a narrow loss. But they've also beaten ranked Maryland and ranked Michigan State throughout the season, so they'll definitely be a tough opponent.
I think it's going to be a close game offensive-wise for both teams. But when you look at defense, Illinois can be a little bit more of a challenge. So that means Purdue is really going to have to handle the ball and really handle each possession wisely tonight. So
Illinois definitely one of those, like you said, Sydney, scrappy defensive teams. They're going to get after you, create a lot of problems for us, especially just bringing the ball up the court even. But I think Purdue is the better team, and if they can maintain composure and limit the turnovers, they should be just fine, wouldn't you think?
And yeah, especially coming off a 3-game winning streak for Purdue, they kind of have that momentum going into tonight versus Illinois, who just lost 2 games back-to-back. So 2 different ends of the spectrum.
And Purdue definitely plays through the guards a lot, so as you said, turnovers, ball control is definitely going to be very important. Purdue averages 10 turnovers a game, which is a pretty good statistic in favor of them. Obviously, Carson Edwards controls a lot of the game for Purdue, so look for a big game from him tonight.
And Liam, you mentioned the guard play. I'm really anxious to see 2 of the best guards in the Big Ten going at it tonight. Carson Edwards for Purdue, and then Ayo Dosunmu for Illinois, both averaging double figures in the points category, and both can certainly get their fill tonight.
Yeah, I definitely see it being a high-scoring game, double digits definitely before the end of the first half. So.
Yeah, and if you look at the Illinois game from last year, Carson Edwards had a really big game with 40. So, and he's struggled the last 2 games for Purdue shooting-wise. So, he really needs a big game to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this game, I see Purdue's strength being inside in their front court. I think between Matt Harms and Travion Williams, Aaron Wheeler, even maybe a little bit of Evan Boudreau, I think that the Purdue front court should have their way down low in the paint. The youngster Georges Bashanisvili for Illinois, a talented player, a guy averaging double figures in the points category, but he has never played Mackey before. This kid's just a freshman from the country of Georgia, and he's going to have 14,000 bearing down on him tonight.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that with this being his first time in Mackey, it's definitely going to be a different feel, a different playing experience for him. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to Purdue's defense tonight. So.
And it's going to be the first time playing in Mackey for a lot of the players on Illinois' roster. I saw a stat that Illinois' roster has a combined 27 minutes played in Mackey, which will definitely be intimidating for them.
So let's go back to Purdue. Give us an overview of how the season went for them up until now.
Well, this season certainly has had its ups and downs. They started off a little slow, and they've been through a lot throughout the season, but they've turned around late, and let's take a look at some of their recent success.
Eastern looking for room down the baseline. Kicks it out to Eifert for 3! What a possession for Purdue!
Despite an early season struggle, the Purdue men's basketball team finds themselves at the top of the Big Ten standings, having won 8 of their last 9 games. A changed lineup and newfound chemistry is a big reason why the Boilermakers are clicking at such an important time of the season. With the outstanding play of junior guard Carson Edwards and the rise of many Purdue freshmen, the team has looked impressive for a number of weeks. To fans, the team was not in a good spot early on.
I think we did really well, seeming how we started off a little rough.
They weren't very good early in December, but they really got it together.
The team's recent success, however, has fans hopeful.
Here's Borkart to the rim, and it's pinned by Carson Edwards.
With a month left in the season, Purdue is tied for first place with both Michigan and Michigan State and has a very favorable schedule going forward. Purdue's remaining opponents have a combined 29-60 record, a stat that heavily favors the Boilermakers. Despite the loss to Maryland earlier this month,
in the end,
fans are still optimistic.
A better team than we started. I think they'll stay consistent. We're a young team, but we've grown a lot.
I think that they'll probably lose early in the conference tournament, and then they might make the Sweet 16, but I don't think that they'll go past that. So.
Boilermakers return home to Mackey Arena on Saturday, March 2nd for their final home game of the season against Ohio State.
Now, Purdue has had a successful season, albeit they sit at 27, tied for first place, half a game back from Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, they've had kind of the luck of the draw on the second half of this Big Ten schedule, and the fact that they haven't played a ranked opponent over the last couple of weeks, and they're not going to play one for the rest of conference play. Now, that being said, they still have a couple of chances to falter on the road. I mean, we know that any game on the road in the Big Ten is, no cakewalk no matter who you're playing. Just ask Michigan State. They faltered against this team, Illinois, that Purdue plays here tonight. But Purdue with a relatively easy schedule for the second half of conference play, and that's definitely been in their favor.
Now, just looking back in comparison to Purdue last year with Illinois, it was a high-scoring game for Carson. He really kind of dominated. I'm pretty sure we're going to have that same outcome this year tonight on the court as well. Players like Klein, I'm expecting him to, really be dominant on the outside around the ring. So.
It'll be a very interesting game. I mean, there's definitely a lot of capability offensively on both teams. It could be definitely a shootout.
Yeah, I think this is a really good game for Purdue because they're going to play a lot of athletic teams like this in the early rounds of the Big Ten tournament, but also potentially in the NCAA tournament because Purdue's not used to playing against these styles of teams that like to run and gun and aren't as focused on the half court, but more like to get after you with their speed and athleticism. So this is a good maturity game for this Purdue team, I think, to test the waters against a team that's maybe athletically superior to them.
Yeah, especially with Illinois being a young team. I mean, at this point, they've got nothing to lose. They're going to come out with all they've got.
Well, it's been a chilly day, but let's go ahead and find out what that weather is going to look like tonight for those heading out to the game. Let's take a look.
Thanks, guys. The temperature right now in West Lafayette is 36 degrees, and that is going to change as the night goes on. So do make sure you step out the door with those hats, coats, and gloves, as temperatures again are going to go down as the night progresses on before the game. Taking a look at our weather map here, we are going to have some high pressure building into the region. That's going to allow skies to gradually clear as the night goes on. So while you're in Mackey Arena, we are going to see those clouds dissipate away. We are going to look at mostly clear skies once the game is over with that incoming cold front passing through the region. Temperatures as you do leave the game are going to be in the upper 20s, 30 degrees by 7 p.m., 29 degrees by 9 p.m., and as you're getting home, temperatures are going to be right around 28 degrees. Again, mostly clear skies, but again, a couple of clouds may not be out. Your overnight low of 22 degrees, winds out the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Enjoy the game tonight, and boiler up.
Hello and welcome back to Fast Track Live, a special sports edition. Aaron Wheeler for the Purdue men's basketball team has been a nice addition over the course of this season. He's had some big games, and he's been a nice little surprise that not many people counted on this year.
I'm glad you mentioned surprise. He's really came out and sparked us and sparked our attention. The freshman is averaging about 14 points per game. 14 minutes per game with a 4.8 average in points. So he's really stepped up this year and had a kind of like I would say, pressure on him as a redshirt freshman to come out and kind of perform the way he has this season.
And as you said, he's a redshirt. So again, a lot of people forgot about him. Last year sat out. But this year, I mean, he's been great. He's 6'8". He's a guard. He can shoot, and he's as athletic as they come. So, I mean, the future is really bright for him.
Yeah, let's take a look at Aaron Wheeler and the journey that he's been on this season.
Being able to find such a balance between offense and defense process with so much turnover from last year's graduating plus leaving.
The team has changed a lot since last year, so at first it was hard adjusting. We had to get our chemistry right and stuff like that. But as time went on, we learned from our losses. Like, we had some early non-conference losses that we learned from. We just needed to play in the games together because our group really hasn't played a lot together. So once we got that, our chemistry down pat, we started clicking on all cylinders.
What do you believe you brought to the team?
I think I bring just some energy off the bench. I'm athletic. I try to defend multiple positions, can knock down open threes and stuff like that. Just giving our team energy.
What kind of score what kind of score you guys expect after all the season as fast?
I mean, I think we have a chance to win the Big Ten, so we're just trying to finish off the regular season right and win a Big Ten title, and just keep the momentum going for the March Madness.
And what you're expecting from the Wednesday game?
They're gonna be a tough team. We just gotta come out. They pressure the ball a lot, so we're gonna have to stay together, limit our turnovers,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
and just it's gonna be a big game because they beat some good opponents. So we're just gonna have to not look over this game and just think about Illinois. So.
And do you want to say something to the fans who will come to the game on Wednesday?
Yeah, just bring some energy. We're happy to be back in Mackey after a good week or 2 weeks. So just bring us some energy and help us get this win.
Welcome back to Fast Track News Sports Special. I'm Sydney Simone. First off, thank you, Mohan, for that wonderful interview. What was it like interviewing Aaron Wheeler?
He's from my class, so he's pretty willing to talk to me, and he's given me a lot of highlights about what he's thinking about this season. And I think he's pretty confident for the game tonight. And I think he also mentioned the whole team are gathering together for the whole year, and he also mentioned the coach. He think the coach really guides me to the right direction. So that's the reason why he can performing so well right now.
What was something that you learned about Aaron Wheeler that those watching might want to know?
Yeah, I went to the rest place, and he showed me his closet, and he told me his favorite sneaker is Paul George. So he have a lot of sneakers hanging on the wall, and he also ordered orange chicken before we had an interview, And he's really nice to talk to me, and he also said he loved fashion stuff like I did, spring stuff, He's kind of like that kind of guy. He's really nice, and also take me hand out after our interview to the Mackey place where nobody there, and he's shooting with me and playing and shooting games and shooting balls with me and just talking to me and introduce me to other players.
So I remember Aaron kind of mentioned, he talked about the fans and how he appreciates the support and everything like that. So we're going to go ahead and check out the IU campout package where fans came out and camped out the night before the game in order to get their front row seats. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Students began filing into Lambert Fieldhouse at 7 p.m. on Friday for the opportunity to do something that many Purdue students can't say they have done, sit front row in Mackey Arena. For sophomores Audrey Cruzy and Jordan Chen, the campout Friday was their first time ever camping out before a basketball game.
Yeah, I think this is both of our first times. Yeah, we're just trying to get good seats for the game tomorrow.
But for other students, like senior Mark Bufanio, they consider themselves to be seasoned pros at camping out for the chance to get great seats in Mackey Arena for the all-important rival game. Is this your first time camping out?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I camped out for IU when they were here my sophomore year. I camped out for Villanova when they came to town.
Bufanio says that the reason he comes to camp out every year was for the experience. Camping out for students like Bufanio is about making memories.
The reason that I am here is that I need to take in every minute of the experience of having our little brother from down south come up.
Each group of students brought their own forms of entertainment for their night of indoor camping. Some students brought board games, others brought cards, and some brought homework. Sophomores Hannah Ponte and Haley brought a large tent, 5 boxes of pizza, and high hopes for the night. As far as how the game will fare for Purdue, the students are hopeful for this young Boilermaker basketball team.
At the beginning of the year, I was very, very skeptical. They looked like a team that was young, but over the course of the last couple games, they've shown incredible development, and if they keep getting hot, they keep playing like they're playing, I think they'll be really, really tough to beat.
Boiler up! Boiler up! Go Boilers!
Boiler up, that's it.
For Fast Track News, I'm Brianna Ship.
Welcome back to our Fast Track Sports Special. I'm Liam Archer. So how about that? Could you imagine staying up all night, sleeping, just to go to a basketball game?
Purdue has some really, really loyal and dedicated fans to, camp out in the Lambert Fieldhouse overnight, with your friends. I'm sure it's a great experience, but just to show the dedication of actually staying overnight in order to get those front row seats, to be there to cheer on the players the next day. That's a lot of time and energy they spent into doing that. I'm pretty sure they were exhausted by the time the game started, but
Well, and they produce results too. I mean, Purdue has an outstanding record at home over the past few years, so Mackey's doing something right.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Coming up, we will take a look at Tyler Trent's legacy and impact on campus.
Welcome back to Fast Track News Sports Special. I'm Sydney Simone. Over winter break, Purdue lost an icon. It was a devastating loss. Tyler Trent. He was one of Purdue's biggest supporters, and fans gathered at a candlelight vigil to pay respects to him, where President Mitch Daniels actually spoke. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
There have been many people within the Purdue community to leave a lasting legacy. Tyler Trent is most certainly one of those people. With the recent passing of the celebrated student, talk on Purdue's campus is now buzzing around how he will be remembered. Funerals and services are only temporary. Purdue students like Haley Berry think Trent deserves something more permanent.
Yeah, I think a statue is an awesome idea. So many people loved him, and that's just a great way to remember him and carry on his legacy for sure.
Arguably one of Trent's favorite spots, Ross-Ade Stadium is one of the contending locations for a Trent statue. Many people in the Twitter world are in support of this idea. What is certain, though, is the large influence Trent had on people all throughout Purdue, even those who are fairly new, like freshman Justin Wickus.
Really showed me what it's like to be a true Boilermaker, and I couldn't really have asked for a better introduction to campus.
Trent taught life lessons to students such as Logan Marshall, who came across his story.
He put everyone else before him and everything like that, and was really selfless. So it kind of gave me a little bit of an edge of to do selfless things.
With a possible statue in the works, Trent's impact is likely to live on here at Purdue University.
And a heartwarming piece there about a figure of the Purdue community that was so instrumental in so much that went on this past fall.
It's amazing to see how many fans and supporters and people he really impacted.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you see people all over campus wearing his wristband. I mean, Mike's got his on right now. I mean, you see one out on the John Wooden statue outside Mackey, so it's really, really special. We now transition to tonight is one of the last games at Mackey for the two seniors on the Purdue basketball team. One of them is Ryan Klein, who's been, a valuable member of the team for, all 4 years and a reliable player.
He is a really good shooter. Really good shooter.
So
hard to kind of stop and defend him, especially when you're putting up an average of 12 points per game, playing average of 33 minutes per game. That's a lot.
And he averages the most minutes out of anybody on the team.
Yeah.
So he's always out there, and he's got his mojo going right now. You can tell. He doesn't care. He's just letting it fly.
Yeah.
He is definitely unstoppable. I remember watching the Maryland game. Guys trying to defend him. He's right there, and he's still knocking it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and last week against IU, he had that really dramatic shot that went in the last second. Now we switch over to the next senior, Grady, who's probably got the most inspiring story on the team. Started as a walk-on, is now a scholarship and a starter on one of the best teams in the Big Ten.
He's also pushing a pretty decent amount of time, averaging about 24 minutes a game, knocking down 5 points per game. He's really came in and been an asset to the team this year.
Yeah, and I think we all knew that he was going to hustle out there, but I didn't think that we thought that he would be able to shoot the ball as well as he is. I mean, he's at a decent clip from three-point range, and that's an added aspect to the Purdue offense that makes them that much more difficult to guard.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys bundle up tonight when you're heading out to the game. The game starts at 8:30 tonight at Mackey Arena. So thank you again for tuning in. My name is Sydney Simone.
Mike Folta.
Liam Archer.
And have a good evening.